back for the third week in a row, and I want to dive into what happened last week with the last 5 stocks that I signaled. We had Mara last week. We had SI, Chewy, Goldman Sachs for earnings, and Snapchat just looked good on the charts. We had a pretty good week overall, but the reversal of Coinbase came in, and it came in hard. So I hope you guys are following the TikTok so you could see that I was saying to buy some puts on these and that the cryptocurrencies were going to take a hit. So Coinbase came out, and it came out flying. It was valued at $100 billion before getting completely sold off, almost $100 actually, from 420 all the way down to 310 to 320 range. And now it's kind of trying to figure out where its fair and orderly basis is. But as you can see here, Mara did break out, and it had a great run up until it actually went public. And then you can see it just went absolutely crazy. It was almost like a sell the news catalyst I signaled in the last watch list. So if you caught puts here like we did, we caught puts in SI. It was unbelievable. But these short-term calls riding into it paid pretty well. They paid over 100% actually, just overnight when you swung just from, what was it, Tuesday to Wednesday or Monday to Tuesday. So I hope you guys got that quick trade in, and I hope you guys were able to sell the news or at least took some profit before the Coinbase IPO as I signaled. SI, same thing. Huge sell-off, but a great run-up all in between. Went from 141 all the way up to 178. And then the put side absolutely paid if you bought some puts on the downside after the sell the news event. They're also coming out of cryptocurrency. They're realizing that there's money laundering happening in there. And we all knew that from the get-go. And I knew the institutions were going to raise concerns about this. And there's going to be bad news article presses because, cryptocurrency is trying to take over these banks, in the long run. So it only makes sense for the exchanges or for the institutions to really be like, okay, Bitcoin is a problem. So there's got to be some sort of news out there that's going to hurt them to protect the banks. But that's besides the point. That's just a theory of mine. So if you caught the Mara and the SI upswing, then you're very happy, and I hope you were able to sell before the Coinbase actually became available to trade publicly in the market. Another one that was on the watch list was Chewy. Chewy did very well. Had a nice consistent gain all the way up. If you caught it early, it was right around here. It was right around the $83 range, and then it tested right at that one price point. I was signaling I sold actually around this $87 break. I didn't ride it all the way up to 88, but I knew there was going to be some consolidation period. So I'd be looking. I'm not even going to put this on this week because it looks like it's going to run. It had a nice bounce off this bottom. So the next test of this 88, we could see it run all the way to 92. So if you want to keep that on watch, go ahead. And then we had Goldman Sachs earnings. Goldman Sachs earnings were unbelievable. Their investment banking arm went absolutely crazy, and I would look for. It started at 325 and it ended up all the way to 344 the very next day. The earnings absolutely killed it. We swung this into earnings actually in my channel, and it was a great play. The implied volatility percentage was very low. We knew they were going to kill it with banks and interest rates. The future outlook looks amazing. The equities market has been hot, so we knew this was going to be a killer. So we swung some risky options into earnings and absolutely paid us. They returned like 300, 400%, I believe, just in an overnight swing. And then we had Snap on watch. It was a nice honorable mention. It's actually an honorable mention again this week with their earnings coming up on Thursday. So this was a great play. I think it was signaled around, like the $60 mark, $61 mark. And right here, it took this nice break before taking a nice dive. It was a nice little sell-off day, but if you got this break and you got into the day trade around the 65 mark, the $64 break was huge to 65. If you follow the TikTok again, I posted that on there as well as my channel. So I hope you guys were able to catch this one. It wasn't that big of a move, but it still paid a good percent if you were in there at the right time. So actually, I want to put this one back in the watch list to kick it off for this week. Snapchat, big one I'm watching this week. Because of the earnings catalyst, Snapchat Spotlight, I signaled this before, it's actually the #1 trending app right now because they're trying to bring their app to get more viewership, and they're actually incentivizing people to use their new feature. So it's actually becoming really hot right now, and it's a trending market. So I'm assuming the future outlook is going to look great. The financials have been killing it. Social media stocks have been killing it throughout the pandemic. So let's see if they can keep that up on an earnings report. I think this breaks out crazy this week, so I'm going to be probably taking some pretty heavy positions above the 64 range, 64.75, and the $65 break. If we can break the 65.85, I can see this really, really rocketing to maybe even all-time, maybe not all-time near all-time highs, but 68, 69 range. Wouldn't even be surprised to see $70. If they're killing it, maybe we could see all-time highs. It all depends on this earnings report, but I can tell you there's going to be a lot of volatility in social media stocks. So Snapchat, that's how I'm going to kick off this week. Snapchat is big on watch for me, but I also want to start it off by showing the QQQ to track the NASDAQ. Things are at all-time highs right now, so I'd be a little bit careful going into this week. But 341, I want to see things stay above this 342 range. If things can stay above this 341.75, I would remain bullish because that would be above VWAP. And then I think things start getting a little bit hectic below 341 flat. So as long as we could stay above 341 and 341.65, 341.75, I think that futures are a little bit down right now, but tech could be very, very bullish, especially with Netflix reporting earnings on Tuesday. So that's another one I want to put on the watch list. QQQ, not on the watch list. I just want to make you aware that those are some levels that the whole market and whole NASDAQ level need to stay above in order for the market to be bullish this week. So Snapchat definitely on watch above those numbers that I was just calling out. And then I want to put it on Netflix with their catalyst on Tuesday. This could be a great runner. Netflix absolutely killed it last earnings report, and they shot right up. So I want to keep that same momentum, and I want to see anything above 560 here. See, it had a nice little bounce off this bottom from, I think it was Wednesday. That was a Wednesday sell-off. A lot of stocks sold off on Wednesday. And then I would love to take a position here above this 560 mark. Above 560, we could really start running, and it could be in a bullish pattern before the Tuesday run-up. So anything above 560 tomorrow, I will be hopping in, or even above this 555. If you want to hop in above this 555, it looks like it could run all the way up to this 560 mark. Start taking some profit off the table and see if we can start testing this 566 range, and then maybe use some of those profits to swing into a very risky earnings play. But then it'll be basically free if you roll your contracts into the expiration, or if you roll those contracts into the earnings report, you can just take some off the table and ride some profit for free. So that could be a really, really great play above this 555. If we're testing 560, start taking some profit off the table. And if we get all the way up to 565, which is only a $19 move, which is not that big of a deal for Netflix. So that could be some great profit on Netflix. You could sell a couple, ride some into earnings, and then really cake out on that position. So Netflix is high on watch, Snap as well. And the QQQ was one. And then at NEO actually is a really great opportunity. They have a catalyst this week. They have the Shanghai event happening tomorrow and Tuesday. I'm not going to be touching anything in NEO, but the premiums are very, very cheap. So you could profit whether you have a big account, small account, doesn't really matter. But I will not be touching NEO. I mean, it's bouncing off this $34 range pretty nicely actually on Friday. But I will not be touching anything because I don't see anything being bullish until I see above this mark, above 39. What is that? Let's make sure we got this right. 39.25. Anything above 39.25, I will contemplate taking a position because that's a big break. But this is such a downtrend that I am not very confident in NEO unless they come out with some pretty great innovative technology at the Shanghai event. So that one's a great one to be watching this week. I really want people to tune into the SI and Mara sell-off and Riot with the problem that they're having with the cryptocurrency coming out with money laundering, like I said earlier. These could be honestly some really great positions to take in the long run if you want to start hopping in some shares. I don't see this being breakout because this is a very strong bearish engulfing pattern, but the way the SI rebounds is actually pretty crazy, as you could tell on its previous price action. Any crazy sell-off, you see some long rebounds. So this could actually be a good play to maybe buy a call option longer term for May and just sit on it. I don't think this is a weekly play, but we probably will see these face some pressure in the short term. But I'm pretty sure SI has earnings this week too. So this could be a big watch for a May position. I think they report earnings on 420. So this could be a great one to watch, especially on the downside. We could see room all the way down to 113 on this one. I would not be surprised. If it breaks down below 126, it could be a good put opportunity. Short-term put opportunity from 126 all the way down to 113, if not, 121. That would still be a pretty good return on a profit on a position like SI because their premiums pay credible. So I would definitely put that on watch for some short-term puts. But for May calls, this looks like a pretty good price to me because their business model hasn't changed and the money laundering thing will get sorted out and it'll be swept under the rug in no time. So I really like Netflix this week. I love Snapchat this week. And I would be on watch for some of these cryptocurrencies along with, let's see, I think that Snap, and then I think my honorable mention this week is actually going to be Etsy. Etsy is one that I'm really going to be watching here. Has a nice consolidation. It's also kind of a part of the social media. So if you don't really want to get directly tied up with the earnings report of Square, Pinterest, Snapchat, and Etsy should all be kind of moving together along with Twitter. But it is kind of forming a nice little almost like a bull flag here in the last pattern, kind of a slight falling wedge, a little bit of a slight falling wedge here. We got it from 226, took a nice dip, and then it bounced right back up to 220. So I would love to see this above 225, 226 this week, even this 231 range. I think that there's some bullish sentiment happening here on Etsy, so this is high on my watch list, on top of Snapchat and the QQQ for sure. We got to make sure that's not breaking down. But I really like Amazon along with this. There's a nice consolidation here. They report earnings the following week, and this could actually be something that is a really great watch above this $3,400 break. They've been consolidating for months in this one range between 3,500 and about 3,000. It's just been bouncing back and forth, and now they're really coming at it with some aggression here. So I would expect that their earnings are looking pretty great. And this 35.52 mark could be something we see break through after their earnings report. I would love to see it above 34.28. So I actually took a position on Friday, right before it started rallying a little bit around 333.75. So I'm up a little bit right now, but I really want to see it test this 34.31 range, and then I would love to see it break out to test about the $3,500. Hopefully that happens this week. If not, I have my options expiring after their earnings. So Amazon could go crazy, especially with Netflix reporting earnings as well. So a lot to unpack. There's a lot of catalysts this week. We got the jobless claims this week as well. I think that's on Thursday. Maybe that's on Friday. It's one of those 2 days, but keep on watching the jobless claims. And then a lot of the ones I'm watching are Snapchat, like the social media stocks. Snapchat and Etsy are pretty big. I love Amazon and I love Netflix. Whatever Netflix does, if they report earnings and they kill it, expect Amazon to follow. And then just be aware of the QQQ sell-off and the QQQ numbers. If we stay above that, then we're very bullish this week. If we break down below that, we're very bearish. So if the QQQ starts breaking down, I'll probably start taking some puts on Square, because Square has been running with Bitcoin. But yeah, that's really it. I'm very bullish on the Snapchat earnings and some Netflix earnings. So I'll be definitely watching those. Those are really high on my watch list along with Amazon. So just got to make sure that the QQQ stays above that, and then we're going to be set to go for a very, very bullish week. But like I said, QQQ is something that I really want to keep an eye on. Just make sure we're above 341, and then I'll be a pretty happy investor this week, and a happy trader as well. So Snapchat, Amazon, Netflix, SI for puts. Don't forget puts below those levels, short term and then long term calls for SI, and then an honorable mention I really want to throw out there is Spotify $300 break. That could be a huge mover and could pay you very well. So that's all I got this week. I hope you guys get some thoughts out of that. If you want to follow the TikTok, I post some stuff on there. It's just at Next Era Trading. You could go to nexteratrading.com and join the channel as well for all these real-time updates on what positions I'm taking. So I hope that helps you out a little bit this week. This week's going to be pretty bumpy, but we have a lot of potential movers with all the catalysts out there. So we'll catch up next week, and hopefully you guys can make some money this week.